Good morning, everyone. Last time we started with a grammar chapter entitled Adjective Clauses. Today I will continue this lesson by focusing on one of the relative pronouns used at the beginning of an adjective clause, which is called whom. Before I start talking about this relative pronoun whom, let me remind you of what an adjective clause is. An adjective clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. It immediately follows the noun it modifies or describes. An adjective clause is a dependent clause. As you noticed in the following definition, that an adjective clause always has one subject and one verb, it immediately comes after the noun it describes. In addition, an adjective clause is not a complete sentence since it doesn't have or carry a full meaning. Using whom in adjective clauses, whom is a relative pronoun that replaces object pronouns that refer to people such as me, you, him, her, us, and them. Such pronouns can be objects of verbs or objects of preposition. As you all know that every word that follows a verb is considered an object of a verb, and every word that comes after a preposition is called an object of preposition. Here is an example on an object of a verb. The people were very hospitable. We visited them yesterday. If you look at this example, we have two independent clauses, two complete sentences. In the first clause, the noun people is the word that is modified. In the second clause, we have an object pronoun them. It follows the verb visited, so it's an object of this verb visited and it refers to the noun people. It should be omitted from the adjective clause and replaced by whom. The people whom we visited yesterday were very hospitable. If you look at this underlined part, it's called an adjective clause modifying or describing the noun people. If you notice, it immediately follows the antecedent people. Whom here is an object pronoun since it always replaces object pronouns, and it's always followed by a subject. We is the subject of this adjective clause and visited is the verb. I stopped at yesterday because where is another verb that shouldn't be included in this adjective clause. As I said before, an adjective clause should include only one verb. An example on an object of preposition. The man was a factory worker. The novelist wrote about him. Here also we have two independent clauses. The man in the first clause is the noun that is modified. In the second clause we have an object of preposition him that refers to the noun man. It should be omitted from the adjective clause and replaced by whom. The man whom the novelist wrote about was a factory worker. Whom the novelist wrote about is an adjective clause describing man. I stopped at about because was is another verb that shouldn't be included in this adjective clause. The novelist here is the subject of the adjective clause and wrote is the verb. Omitting whom from adjective clauses. Since whom replaces object pronouns, it can be omitted from adjective clauses. Example 1. The girl is my best friend. I told you about her last night. Here also we have two independent clauses. The noun girl is the word that is modified in the first clause. In the second clause, we have an object pronoun her that refers to the noun girl. It should be omitted from the adjective clause and replaced by whom. As you noticed here also, I omitted whom from this adjective clause because, as I said, it replaces object pronouns, and whether I keep it or not in the adjective clause, it doesn't affect the meaning. For example, the girl I told you about last night is my best friend. I told you about last night is an adjective clause describing the noun girl. I here is the subject of the adjective clause, told is the verb, And I stopped at last night because is another verb that shouldn't be included in the adjective clause here. Example 2. Mr. Lee is my chemistry teacher. The students admire him a lot. Mr. Lee in the first clause is a noun that is modified. Him in the second clause is an object of the verb admire. It refers to man, to Mr. Lee. It should be omitted from the adjective clause and replaced by whom? Mr. Lee. The students admire a lot is my chemistry teacher. In this example, I omitted whom also. The students is the subject of this adjective clause. Admire is the verb. I stopped at a lot because is another verb that shouldn't be included in this adjective clause. Your assignment for next time is to do exercises 10, 11, and 12 on pages 325 in the grammar book. Thank you for listening.